We're the new American gangsters, 'cause we speak bold, give no fuck about the haters. It can take freedom from a cold dead hands. We're locked in low for the last days, 'cause we're the new American gangsters, ready to die for this land.
Consistent with my real gender.
Ready to die for this land.
Welcome to the Patriot Punkcast. I am your host, Chase Matheson, and tonight we are going to mark ourselves safe from the General Assembly for the year. But for those of you who don't know, the General Assembly has adjourned for the year. They will not be passing any more laws until next session. That's good news and bad news, depending on what side of the aisle you're on and depending on which one of these bills that have been going around you have been supporting. I do know that before they adjourned, they got a couple of things accomplished. For one, they were able to upset all of the mentally unstable leftists out there by passing a bill that makes it possible for teachers to go to school armed. We're going to discuss all the ins and outs of that and determine, was it really worth all the money they spent passing that law? Is it going to help? Is it going to make a difference? We are also going to discuss another bill that they passed about Kid Diddlers and the death penalty. And for the first 15 minutes, we're probably going to have to tread lightly because we are on Facebook and YouTube. So make sure if you're watching us on one of those platforms, you jump on over to Rumble, follow us at Patriot Punk Network. That's where all of the spicy content is going to be. After the first 15 minutes, we kind of break free from our chains and get to liven up the discussion a little bit. And for those of you who missed it, apparently Phil Williams from News Channel 5 is enabling white violence. All that, according to Representative Brother Jones. We're going to break all that and more down for you on tonight's show. But first, I want to introduce my co-host, good friend, and host of the Unframe of Mind show,
Daniel Wagner. Yay! All right, do you always speak in such blatant redundancies? You said mentally ill leftist. I don't know why you would need to repeat yourself.
I want to make sure that everyone completely understands exactly who I'm talking about, because not all leftists are mentally unstable. Some of them are sleeping.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, if anybody wants to catch me on the socials, I'm at Unframe of Mind pretty much anywhere. And I do want to introduce our special guest today.
And I want to give a shout out to this special guest, because for the past few weeks we've been discussing policy 1.404 in Rutherford County, and I believe that our special guest tonight actually had a lot to do with tabling that policy and helping maintain a little bit of student or parents' rights. So let's all give it up. Hit that little yellow button over there, okay, for our special guest, Jason Cole, Mayor of LaVergne.
Oh, no, we have a button.
Hello.
That's so tacky.
How are you, Jason?
Peachy keen. How about yourself?
We are hanging in there like a hair on a biscuit. So tell everyone who may not know who you are and kind of what you do.
Sure. I am Jason Cole. I'm the mayor for the City of LaVergne. I've been serving now. This is my 5th year, and I'm trying to push the city forward in a better place. I've got a beautiful wife at home and 2 children in the school system. So I've worked in healthcare for about 20 years now, and so I fight for issues that I believe in.
Well, I've met you 3 or 4 times, spaghetti dinners, random events, and I have to say, you're always a pleasure to speak to. You always have a good laugh, and you seem to be really personable. So I think this will give everyone a nice opportunity to kind of get to know you on more of an everyday average Joe level, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm still trying to decide if the spaghetti was better than Jason Cole or vice versa.
But it's the spaghetti, absolutely the spaghetti.
We'll know after the end of this episode for sure.
Well, before we get into all the news for the night, I do want to go ahead and break down. Thank everybody who's tuned in and watching. Make sure that you are smashing that like button, sharing this stream. You know, election season is ramped up, and the censorship's about to start. They've already taken down 12-year-old videos from We Are Change. They've taken down 3-year-old episodes from Tim Pool. So we know that YouTube, Facebook is probably about to start their big push for censorship. And we are going to ask that you help us avoid that by going to our website, patriotpunknetwork.com, and subscribing to our newsletter. If you've signed up for the newsletter, it doesn't matter who bans me. I will be able to get in touch with you. We'll be able to tell you the important things going on and enlighten you to some of the corruption that is most likely plaguing your jurisdiction. At the website, I'm also going to ask every one of you to be part of the change that you want to see. If you go to the support tab, you can sign up to support us. We are going to be announcing some special members perks once we get a large enough members group. And you can do that for as little as $3 a month. And you can ensure that it's always going to be an independent investigative report around to expose the hanky-panky going on in Tennessee. Sign up, smash that like button, share the show with your friends. And I think we should start off the night by talking about the arming teachers bill. Because over the weekend, that resulted in loads of drama. Oh, we getting any back end echo?
It's from his side.
Oh, I got you. So we're going to talk about the arming teachers, the bill. First off, have you guys seen the protest that they had outside the governor's mansion? Are you bringing that?
I'm working on it.
Yeah. So for those of you who were not near your TV this weekend, first off, good job getting outside. Hold on just one second.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Sorry, we're getting a little bit of feedback echo. It's making it hard to concentrate, guys. So Tennessee General Assembly just passed a law that is waiting for Governor Lee's signature, and it's going to allow teachers, as long as they jump through several hoops and get a permission sticker from like everybody in the town, they might have the ability to bring guns to school. And we've got this article, let's see, from, is the Tennessee Lookout? Is that the
this one's the Gateway Pundit?
Oh, I don't. Okay. Is that the right one?
It's the one that's in the share tab.
No.
So chaos erupts after Tennessee House passes. Okay.
In the
Gotcha.
Yep.
I'll bring that one instead.
Yep, that way we're talking about the same thing. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
Right on.
I'm going to go ahead and start reading this while he's pulling this up. Tennessee Lookout, which we all know is pretty leftist, and we're going to break that down here in just a minute. We're going to get to that. But Tennessee House votes to arm teachers despite opposition. In spite of protesters, bill to allow gun carry by teachers goes to the governor for signature. So before we get into this and going through all the juicy details, on its face, Jason, how do you feel about arming teachers? Obviously, with the covenant's not too far of a distant memory. The news is pushing all these school shootings all the time. What are your thoughts?
Well, first off, schools are soft targets. I mean, you advertise them as a gun-free zone. To me, it's quite frankly, it's a soft target. You have too many times people who would do evil show up because they know there's not going to be anyone to fire back at them. So I think the way this bill is set up, each individual school zone can determine, its school board that is, can determine if they're going to let teachers carry or not. And that's a big thing. Now, for me, I don't like that the schools are advertising that they are or they aren't. I think if they put up a sign saying, hey, this is a gun-free zone for students, but whether it's SROs, whether it's administration, they could be packing. People won't be necessarily as likely to go and shoot up that school because they won't know where it's coming from. Usually, if they know someone's going to have a gun, they try to target them first. Well, then you eliminate all of that. So I think it can get problematic because you have some schools where the students are, just in all honesty, they're much larger than any of the teachers. I walk around our local school, and I mean, I'm doing this looking at sophomores, and they're big guys. So there's pluses and minuses to it. I mean, you could have, if it's known that X teacher is carrying, well, students could just beat the crap out of that teacher and take the gun and do bad with it. So my big thing is, if they're going to do it, which I don't necessarily have a problem with it, just don't advertise it and put it out there that, hey, this teacher's doing it or this school's doing it. don't advertise where those security areas are.
I was looking at this story, and I'm going to send this to the little chat real fast because Williamson County Schools, which ironically that's Governor Bill Lee's home county, they came out and said, I'm just trying to find the tweet that they put out. They basically said that they aren't going to do it. I can't find it right now, but they said that they aren't going to allow it because, like you said, the superintendent gets the final say. And I just thought to myself, well, that's really terrible. You shouldn't tell people that no, none of our teachers are armed, guys. So school shooters, please make sure you are fully aware that none of our teachers have the ability to stop anything. We just want that to be on the record. Make sure we call the news report and put a press release out.
If the gun-free zone sign wasn't enough, the press release announcing they will not be having guns is definitely.
Yes. And then I got to thinking, well, okay, so let's say they didn't make the announcement. How long would it be before some leftist went, hey, I've got this recording of they're not going to allow it, but we just don't want to tell everyone, because somebody would want to drag them through the mud so much that they would want to expose the fact that they do. Oh, well, and look, they're not going to let your teachers. So look, the Williamson County Schools doesn't support it. They're already doing that. But I think that would have happened whether Williamson County came out and made the statement or not. I almost think we may have gotten more done by making it a law that you put a sign outside the school that says our teachers might be armed.
Well, at the risk of beating a dead horse here, Mr. Cole, you mentioned that this schools are a soft target, and I would argue they were also a honeypot as well. And when you eliminate the public schools altogether, it's a little hard to shoot up a homeschool. It's a lot harder to find those students and figure out, okay, how are we going to protect them? What protocols should we follow? What security measures should we take? What things should we be announcing on? We don't have to worry about any of that when all of the students are homeschooled. It just seems like everybody's just missing that complete.
Well, and I feel like, so that's the unrealistic, obviously. Jason, what is the likelihood that next assembly Tennessee says, you know what, we're going to completely dismantle public education and give you all your money back and let you figure it out?
Well, you get about a snowball's chance.
No. Exactly. So whereas I agree with Daniel, a lot of the issues that we discuss are actually problems that are going to come around whenever you allow the governing body of any country to control.
It's the pound of cure versus the ounce of prevention. Is what we're trying to put a Band-Aid on a problem we're trying to address symptoms and play whack-a-mole with symptoms rather than address the root problem was what I'm kind of getting at.
Well, but I feel like we're stuck, at least for now, until more people can have, let's say, a more innovative idea on how to educate people, because I think the tools are probably there, and I don't want to get too far off in the weeds.
Sure.
But for right now, we're kind of stuck. And that's why people wanted the school voucher bill. But most people didn't actually want the school voucher bill. They wanted school choice. And will you acknowledge, Jason, that there's a difference between the school voucher plan and school choice?
Yeah, there's a difference between the two. And it's in all honesty, for that's a marketing issue. None of I think the Democrats did a better job of marketing their version of what it's going to look like. But I don't think the Republicans marketed it much at all, other than they figured they had the votes, they were going to push it through, and sure enough, last minute they didn't.
Can you do me a favor, and maybe some of the audience that maybe don't know, help me understand, because I was kind of under the impression that school choice and school vouchers were kind of the same thing, just synonymous almost.
So a school voucher, the school choice essentially means that, you live in Murfreesboro, but you want to go to Brentwood schools?
Yeah.
Get your kids there. You can take your money, will follow the student, and you can send your kid to Brentwood.
That's kind of what I thought school vouchers were.
Vouchers.
Okay. The
specific bill that had traction, 20,000 out of 1 million students were going to get access to a pool of money, which would be a $7,000 fund that they could then use to go to a private school or charter school or one of the other choices that they had. But 20,000 students is 2% of the total population. It wouldn't take that money. It would take it away from the public school, because if their enrollment goes down, they aren't going to get the same amount. but they also aren't going to have the same student burden. The problem is, I think it was 80% of the bill and 65% of the funding, or 65% of the bill and 80% of the funding, was a public school education bill. So the people that really support school choice, they don't support a lot of the perks that these teachers want. Not that I think teachers are bad, no, because I know people are going to try to like twist this. But at a certain point, society cannot afford to give everybody what they feel they're entitled to. Teachers do a fantastic job, but there's no way we can afford to pay them $200,000 a year.
Yep.
Even if they're worth it, we can't do it.
Mayor Cole, is that a pretty fair assessment or description, breakdown, if you will?
Well, I would love it if teachers got paid $200,000 a year, because my wife is a public school teacher. Do I think that's realistic as a society? No. When it comes to schools, I think one of the big things they need to get figured out, and it's not going to be rocket science, is with the newly brought in charter schools, the funding and making the funding synonymous with public schools. Talking to school board members in Williamson and Davidson in Rutherford County, those aren't on the same playing fields. And Rutherford County, it's a Band-Aid to address the severed arm of where we're going with growth. But it's any little bit helps, but we need, massive help. And right now, no one really has a plan on how to do it.
I want to point out something, and I agree, no one has a plan. And the plan that's being offered is shite. It just is. It's a bribe. Before we start going into the deeper part of this, go ahead and cut off YouTube and Facebook. If you're on YouTube, Facebook watching this, find us over on X or on Rumble at Patriot Punk Network.